Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Prep Life Podcast. This is your founder and CEO of Glam Girl Bikini, Amy Enger. And today I am joined by Coach Brittany Gable. Brittany, hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Excited to be back.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about a few of our favorite things when it comes to prep. So shameless plug for the other podcast that I do with Coach Lee Marie, Balanced Bodybuilding Radio. If you haven't listened to it, we did an episode that podcast is more on lifestyle and kind of balance in your improvement season as a bodybuilder. So we talked about like our favorite things when it came to workouts and then nutrition primarily. But today, Brittany and I are going to talk about the favorite things that come along with specifically competition prep. So some of like our favorite shows, different tools that we use during like, I don't know, just the sky's the limit when it comes to the different prep things that entail. It's a way different animal than anything else. So we wanted to share that because, between the two of us, we probably have over 16 years, maybe 17 years of show experiences to share with everybody. So speaking of shows and getting ready for those, do you want to tell us about just kind of like how your last 7 days have been with your prep and kind of where you're at with that? I don't know if you want to share like what shows you're doing. You don't have to go into that, but just whatever your prepped update is for you.
Yeah, so I'll share my first show that I'm doing because it's set in stone. I've already registered, so it's out there.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to be doing the Amateur Olympia well, I guess it's not in November. It's October 31st. So on Halloween, I get to compete. So the last 7 days, I have been having extreme hip and back pain, really, really bad. Always have trap pain. And on Friday, I went to a sports massage therapist and he gave me cupping, scraping, massaged me, like did all the things. And as you can see, if you're on YouTube, I have like bruises everywhere.
Wow.
But it is, I've done 2 workouts now since then, and I've been having to lower my weight, but I've been having so much better muscle activation and just mind to muscle connection. And I don't feel my traps going in when I'm working on my shoulders. I have been recently having to wear my waist trainer during leg day because it would help brace my back and then I wouldn't have that back pain, just so I can continue to train. And Monday was the first day that I didn't wear it at all, and I didn't have back pain at all. So take your recovery seriously and
Yes.
get some body work done if that is. And we had check-in on yesterday, and I had one of the best check-ins. I'm starting to get leaner. Things are getting exciting, and I'm so excited for this year.
We were just talking about how her face, if you're watching on YouTube, you probably have noticed she's starting to get a little bit of diet face, starting to see some cheekbones there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I keep getting adjustments made. So I just had my check-in today. So we'll see if I have more adjustments. But I mean, I've gone from really high macros since the beginning and just every single week. It feels good to have like these little adjustments made every week because I know I'm going to be sustaining muscle. I've just been chipping away, I've probably been prepping for like 50 some odd days, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, it just seems like, I'm just adding a little bit more cardio every week or like dropping my carbs a little bit, either on my high or my low day. And I like that because it just continues to feel like, my physique is changing, but I'm also really trying to sustain as much muscle as possible throughout this process. So kind of slow and steady wins the race on this one. Okay, so I have this whole list of things that we're both going to kind of just say what our favorite is. So it might be like by the end of this, it might be more of a rapid fire, but I want to start with the bottom question actually first. So the best time of the season to compete, because I know a lot of competitions are ramping up right now in the summer and we're both competing in the fall. And I have to say that I like competing in the summer way better than the fall because I've competed in the fall the last couple of years and I am so low body fat in November. It is miserable. And then also you don't get to like show off your hard work. Right now is bathing suit season and crop top season. And then when you get into the winter, you're just wearing a coat and gloves and everything. So my favorite time to be like competition lean is definitely in the summer because I can tolerate the leanness too a little bit better, a little bit more comfortably. How about you?
Yeah, so I have really only ever competed in the summer, in the spring. Last year we did September, but it still felt like summer because it was really hot. So I agree with you. I think I love competing in the summer because I don't feel shy being in a bikini and I love showing it off, but
Mhm.
it's still like I'm wearing sweatshirts and stuff in the summer. So we'll see how I feel about competing in the deep end of the fall and maybe even winter. We'll see. So we'll see. But I think for like just if you can plan it, I think competing in the summer is just better mentally as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because leading up to it, you can, yeah, like you said, show off your hard work and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So, best location to compete. So, let's do this one, just like our favorite place that we've ever competed. I'll go first. My favorite place was Alicante, Spain. I went in June and it's right on the Mediterranean. So we stayed in a place that was overlooking the Mediterranean and it had this huge like promenade of palm trees and a castle and there's the beach right there and it was just so nice. I'm a huge sucker for destinations when it comes to competing. So I did like Rome. I liked visiting the city of Rome this past year, but it was so cold in the venue. I just can't say that as was my favorite, but it would be my second favorite, I guess, city that I've been to compete. So anyway,
Yeah.
how about you?
Well, I definitely haven't really ventured off too far when it's come to competing. So I would like anywhere warm because we're obviously really low body fat. So being cold is definitely not a fun thing. Anything within driving distance. So recently, like I'm in Oklahoma. So my favorite was Oklahoma because it was just an hour and a half away. But I really did enjoy competing in New Jersey because we stayed there and then went into New York the day afterwards and got to explore. So I'm excited to compete in Orlando. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think just finding more opportunities as my competition career goes on and making more of the destination ones too, because I think it would be fun to explore the different cities and stuff. Usually I just compete and go home. So,
Yeah, it's nice after a show to kind of taste out different cuisines and it's neat to experience a new city for sure. Okay,
yeah.
so best backstage experience, which can be a totally different thing. Um, I would say for me on the best backstage experience, I my favorite competition in terms of ease, as far as that all went backstage and most organized was a Gary Udit show, which all of his shows are extremely organized. They're marketed as the most comfortable format in the MPC just for a national show because he's been way ahead of the times, like with making sure like text messages are sent so you can kind of be in your room and then you can come down when it's, getting closer so you're not so uncomfortable. Once you get everything done, you can't really sit comfortably. And then there's just, yeah, it's just a lot of people and it's overwhelming. So I would say Masters Nationals was my best backstage experience just because it's only Masters competitors. So it makes it smaller and less chaotic. And his staff is just very, like, they just treat you so well. And they're very professional. And that to me, the organizers of the show are what make the backstage experience the best.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. My best backstage experience so far has been at the Oklahoma championships last year. I got to be backstage with a couple glam girls, and we just were taking pictures and having fun. And it's just really laid back there. Like everybody's talking about their journeys and just everything. It's just so much fun. But I will agree with you. I do like that the Gary Udit shows do the texting and stuff. Like when at North Americans last year, I stayed in my room until like right before my class needed to go on stage. And so it made it really like less stressful. I got to chill out in my hotel room and practice my posing and just be by myself in my mind and just getting ready for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it makes a big difference when the venue is also the host hotel where everything is right there in one place, because like you said, you can be in your room. If the beauty of being in your room is that you can change into your suit, you can lay on your bed, you can put your feet up and not feel like you're on this little peninsula of a strip of blanket, feeling like you're sausaged in a room of thousands of people. And some of the times it's cold or it's like a hard floor and there's not chairs and carpeting and things like that. Okay, so best show atmosphere. So we'll talk vibes of the show. I would say what goes into this particular one is how they treat the athlete, how much of like an experience being on stage is, and like the crowd and all of that. So just like the overall, not just the backstage part, because the backstage is like sometimes shows are really great up front, like what you see as an audience, and then you like your backstage experience is horrendous. So do you want to go first on that one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So my best show atmosphere that I've had so far, I have to say Universe, because I just had so much fun at that show. I was in a good mindset. I had a bunch of the glam girls of my friends there, and we just had so much fun. We didn't really go backstage too far before prejudging because it was so crowded there. So that would be the only downfall. But the way the show was ran, it just ran so smoothly, and everybody was really nice afterwards. And it was just really fun.
Yeah, I would say the best that I've seen in terms of that for myself, Muscle Contest does a really cool job of, I remember even just like back in the day when no one was doing the screens, they would do a huge TV screen. They were one of the first ones to do that. They had like a red carpet that you kind of walk out in, and a camera's like following you as you're going down the red carpet by yourself on your individual. And I remember like Quest Nutrition giving us like a bunch of bars, and like the last muscle contest I did, I think it was Legendary Foods Pop Tarts gave us a bunch of those. So it depends on, I the national shows for muscle contest, like they can be a little chaotic, but like the regional shows, I feel like they do a good job of making just like the check-in experience pretty, it's pretty unique, and like they do it in groups rather than doing like a whole bunch of people all at once. And I don't know, I liked that part of the atmosphere. I felt like it was more of like a production. Wings of Strength, pretty similar experience too. I think that both of those show promoters have been doing a lot of big high level shows, and it's no guess, it's not a surprise that they are also the promoters of the Olympia, because that's the greatest show in the world. So I think you're going to have a really good experience as your next show, just because that's the best of our industry. And so the fact that they're the promoters, like it speaks volumes as to why they got that honor. Okay. So moving on, favorite post-show treat. What is yours?
So this year I'm gonna try to stay away from sugar. So I'm gonna try to find a protein treat. But in the past, it's always been brownies or cookies.
Yeah, I have to say mine's always like some kind of crazy ice cream, whatever that may be. I remember one time in Pittsburgh, there was this milkshake place that had a whole cheesecake.
In
It
the
was like a
ice cream.
velvet cheesecake. Yeah, it was so good. It was really good. Yeah, that was pretty epic. So yeah, any kind of milkshake. I like the really fun ones. What
Yeah.
about post-show meal? So actual food, not dessert.
So actual food, I usually always crave like steak or something, but I usually go for like sushi or burgers and fries or pizza sometimes. Pizza is like a hit or miss. It depends on how I'm feeling that day, but sushi is usually always my go-to right after.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't eat fish while I'm prepping and I don't eat it after, but for me, I'm like, give me a burger and some fries. I'm good to go. Definitely not
Potato
us.
fries. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm good on that for sure. And then pump up foods. What's the best pump up food that you've ever had, regardless of whether or not
Um,
it like does good things for you?
so I'll probably say the best combination is a rice cake that's not stale and some almond butter with some honey on top and some salt. Love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say pump up food wise, the best one I've ever gotten assigned to me, and it posed the worst result on stage because it had dairy in it. I don't know what my coach was thinking. I had like tunnel vision when it came to what she was telling me that I could have. She's like, pick a candy. So I picked Reese's peanut butter cups. I had the biggest poop baby. I mean, my stomach was so bloated on stage. I looked like garbage. And I had really hard abs before I had eaten that. So it was definitely the Reese's peanut butter cup. I have to say it was the most fabulous tasting, but I will
Yeah.
not ever use that as my pump up again because my body just doesn't react well to that kind of I pump up for
Well, I
sure.
mean, you don't eat Reese's during your prep, so
I know.
why would you think any different if it was gonna affect your stomach or
I
not?
know. I should have known better, but I was just like, well, maybe this will work. But no,
Yeah, and
it
you're
didn't.
like, I'm excited. You tell me to eat candy before the show? Okay, I'm not gonna question that at all.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, so let's talk about pre-stage ritual. What what do you do? What's your favorite, the one that gets you in the best mindset?
So I think just, of course, big deep breath in and out, telling myself I've got this, praying I don't mess up or trip during my posing, and just not focusing on anybody else's physique, not worrying about what my physique looks like, just knowing that I put in the hard work and now is my time to show it off, and really just going over my posing in my head and looking at like how far I'm going to have to walk out so I can prepare myself and just be able to smile and look at the judges and not really have to think about it.
Yeah, I get a lot of stage anxiety and stage fright. So I have to kind of do the Shalene Johnson trick where she talks about how you can use energy as either a positive or a negative, and whatever way you choose, instead of saying I'm nervous, saying I'm excited, I'm excited. And I just kind of have to tell myself that over in my head, and just kind of like affirmations in terms of, I've got this, I can do this. And just kind of looking at people from the neck up, because once I start playing the game of like trying to analyze like what people in line in front of me look like and things like that, I really try to face the wall. And I don't mean to be antisocial, and people that have probably been around me um probably think I'm a bit of a jerk like when I'm backstage, and it has nothing to do with them and the fact that I don't want to like meet new people and things like that, because I absolutely do. But before I go on stage, I have to really like isolate myself, and I try to just be looking at a wall and not a mirror, because the more I fixate on like how I'm looking or someone else is looking, it just really gets in my head. So I try to stay in the zone. And then after that, I'm like relaxed and I can talk to people and be social. But until then, I just kind of have to stay in a zone. So,
Yeah,
all
I'm the
right.
same way for prejudging. Once it's to finals, it's like now
Mhm.
you can talk and chat while you're waiting in line to go on because the judging is mostly
Done.
done, and so you
Yep.
can have more fun that way.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so as far as your hair, so when it comes to like wigs, extension, a halo, or nothing, So between those four choices, what's your favorite?
So I used to do clip-in extensions when my hair wasn't long enough. Um, I haven't ever tried anything else, so I can't really say, but my hair is too long
Yeah,
now,
we're
so
both.
I'm gonna have to get it cut again. So my favorite is nothing. So if I
Yeah,
can
you
keep
do
it
really well with
long,
it. Yeah.
yeah.
The times that last, the last couple of years, we've just kind of taken out the extension equation with your hair. I think we did the first show that I did with you. I don't know if you did it before that, but I was
Yeah.
just like, your hair is like a Lauren Dana Miller hair where it's just like healthy, gorgeous, full. It doesn't need any extra help for volume, whereas most people do.
Mhm.
I have a very healthy head of hair, and both my daughter and I have like super thick hair. If you look at hers, mine used to be like that. And so like the older I get now, I'm starting to use extensions. But when I was first competing, I really didn't have to. I just have very thick hair naturally. Um, and so I've tried a halo. It gave me a really bad headache because that wire that goes over your forehead, and a wig just doesn't work for me. I have too much hair
Yeah.
that even if I use wig tape or whatever, like it would come off. I wish that I could use a wig, honestly, because they would be so easy.
Yeah.
Because my hair, I have a hard time curling it and things. But yeah, either an extension. Usually, my Bellamy hair is what I like to do the best. That's been my best experience with extensions. I don't like the tape in or the bonded. I've done those. The clip-ins are my favorite.
Yeah, the
So,
clip-ins are nice because you can, once you're done competing, you can take it out and it just like you
mhm,
feel a relief, but they are kind of heavy. But I
yeah.
don't know if that's just because, yeah, I have thick hair and so it added
Mhm.
even more weight to it. So I just don't like extensions. I'm just gonna keep my hair long.
Yeah, I'm ready to pull them out as soon as the show's over. That's the first thing I do
Yeah.
is take them out. Okay, so what about hairstyle? And I know this kind of evolves over time, but right now, what would you say your favorite hairstyle is to wear on stage, straight, curly, or wavy?
So I've worn it just about each time, each way. So I
Mhm,
think my favorite so far is like loose, bouncy curls, not
mhm.
wavy, not curly, but like in between there.
Yeah, I like a beachy wave. I don't like tight curls. I don't particularly love straight hair. You have to really get a lot of volume up top, like in your roots, to make
Hmm.
that with all the glaze and grease on your hands. It just gets really like Amish looking in a way. So you have to basically crimp your roots if you're gonna do straight hair, which I've liked that on stage at times. My hair doesn't hold curl very well, so I kind of have to just do like a middle of the road where it's kind of loose because I do it really tight, but it's gonna fall to the point
Yeah.
where it'll become wavy. So that's kind of where I'm at with that one. What about your favorite makeup artist?
My favorite makeup artist is always going to be Carolyn Workman. She always works my face just so amazing. It makes me feel like a beauty queen on show day.
Yeah, she always does crazy different things too. I'm surprised at how many different looks you've had with just her
Mhm.
hand,
Yeah.
because most makeup artists, they have like a particular look and a way that they do your face that you're comfortable with, but it's like she's done so many different looks on you, and all of them, I can't even decide like which has been my favorite because they've all been really good. I've never actually used her. I have been with Elaine Goodlad forever, and she does my makeup a certain way, and it's been ever since I've been doing national shows, I've been going to her. So anytime she's at a show, I will pick her. As she's my favorite. So she takes care of me. She hooks me up.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your favorite attire to wear once you're tanned?
So anything loose, of course. So I really like my Angel Competition bikini jammies that I have, or sometimes if those get too hot because they're silky, I like to just wear like cotton, just long sleeve and loose pants. Nothing too long though, because when I'm wearing my slides, I'll trip over them,
Oh,
and
shoot.
yeah, I've almost hurt myself a couple times. So make sure your pants aren't too long.
Yeah, I'm just all black. Everything's
Yes, all
black.
black.
Because otherwise I stain everything. So um I use the pajamas that American Airlines gives my husband when he's like on business trips, when he's flying first class. They have these pajamas, and they're all like, they're super loose and baggy, but they're so comfortable. Okay, so what is in your suitcase, like the one that you wheel backstage? So on show day, what are your favorite things to have in
Um,
your suitcase?
a phone charger connected to like a power thing, because we can't ever
Okay.
know that we have gonna have a plug-in back there.
Yeah.
And we gotta take pictures and be able to talk to our coach backstage. So last year was the first year I tried out a pee funnel, and best thing ever, because you don't ever have to worry about dribbling or messing up your tan. I always make sure to have baby powder. Fun fact, if you sprinkle it into your heel and you get sweaty feet like I do when I get nervous and going on stage, it keeps me from slipping in my heels. So I always make sure to have a little bit of baby powder. Of course, a blanket, something to keep warm, and a pillow to either rest my head on or my feet, making it go up on top of my suitcase. And then just like a mini mirror. And then I also always bring a little like sewing kit. I've never had to use it, but I'm so glad I always bring it back there, because I think out of all 4 shows I did last year, 3 of them I had to help a few competitors backstage, either cutting their ties off, or one of them we had to sew her suit back together because her connector fell off.
Oh,
And
geez.
so we're like holding it and trying to put it together right before she was gonna
I
go
bet
on
she was glad that
stage.
you brought that.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
some
it.
other things that I carry with me in that suitcase is obviously my heels and my suit, my robe. I like to have that backstage. And then I'll have like touch up things for makeup. So like a blotting wipe, or like some stuff just to touch up after I've eaten. Of course, my pump up snacks and bands, and then anything that I want to have, like if it's finals, like if I have like a post show treat, I'll put that in there. Um, I think that's about it. I do bring my nails because I do the press on nails at the last minute usually. So I'll bring the kit back there and just put them on, because with how active I am with like lifting and everything, my nails get chipped even just during peak week and stuff. And then I have a hard time typing with my phone with the long nails. So I sometimes bring my nails back there and just do them backstage before I go on. But other than that, a brush, I would say, for my hair, just to do some touch ups. That's about it, other than the things that you mentioned, of course.
Yeah, I forgot I bring I do the DIY pro tan, so I always bring like my touch up stuff for that, and just in case I dribble on myself or
Yeah.
something weird or mess up my tan.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay. So we kind of overlapped with backstage essentials. Um, was there anything else that you would recommend for people to have backstage with them?
Um, I think we mentioned pretty much everything that we
Yeah.
would want to have backstage. I mean,
Other
if it's
than glaze,
still,
I think is maybe the other thing that we didn't
yeah.
talk about. And then obviously like your jewelry you would want to have in there, which segues into our next one. What's been your favorite jewelry that you've worn?
My favorite jewelry that I've worn is from Shoe Fairy. I can't remember what the actual set is called, but the one
Uh-huh.
that's like chandelier down like that. And I've always enjoyed Shoe Fairy.
Yeah, this past year I used the Angel Competition bikini jewelry, and they have some really fun color mixtures in, and that's kind of the new thing for this year is doing like a pop of color in either like your earrings, your ring, or your bracelet, but not making it so over the top where everything's matchy matchy to your suit, but like maybe having a couple of things here and there. So for example, I had some earrings with I wore like my dark emerald green suit. I had some emerald pops in my earrings, and I kind of really like that. And then I did that also with my purple ones. They have different ones that kind of match the jewel tones. So that's been my new favorite. And then I would say they're my favorite suit designer as well. But if we're going with cut, right now I would say the micro cut is my favorite. I would have said pro in the past, but believe it or not, the less coverage, the bigger your glutes look or the better they look. So if you go Brazilian, if you go more fabric, it just makes the butt look smaller. And that's kind of where I'm at with that. And then my favorite color has always been kind of like shades of purple. I just gravitate towards that color. I don't know why, but how about you?
Yeah, so my favorite is definitely Angel Competition bikinis by far. They always take care of you too, and I just love their cuts and stuff like that. So my cut is micro. I may actually be venturing into Olympian.
Ooh,
I worked with Savannah, and she mentioned that I may need to have the Olympian. So
I
we're gonna
think you
try
might.
micro, and we're gonna see once I go up there and try it on. But and then my
Mhm.
favorite colors are gonna be like my purpley blues. That those are always gonna be my favorite. They just match well with my skin tone. But I may be trying red this year.
Nice. Yeah. I think I'm going to be going back to like my roots of my very first suit was like a maroon-ish. And then I've done like a fuchsia color. So it's going to be like kind of like a cranberry, like fuchsia color. So I'm excited to try that this year. And then I always like this past year, I started wearing the molded top, which I like that for the top. Um, it just is like very polished look, I think,
Yeah, I
versus
tried.
the regular.
Yeah, I tried that last year, and I really liked the molding top too. It just makes the girls stay in place and they look better too.
Yeah, it only works if you have implants. I
Yeah.
will give that disclaimer though. Any of my athletes that do not have implants, I recommend they get the regular so then you can put pillow stuffing and pads in there and it looks more like a natural um, thing as opposed to the molded cup where it has the pre like padding in there and it can come off as not like showing a very like flattering shape if you're
Yeah.
more on the flat chested side. So avoid that if you do not have implants. And then as far as tan, I have to say that even though I did DIY last year, I will say that there's nothing like someone spraying you and taking the worry out of it is more expensive, but it is a lot less stressful for me to have the show tanner do it as long as they're using Pro Tan. I don't particularly like some of the other like Giantana and I'm trying to think liquid sunrays. It's kind of it's if you have any sort of hormones going on, it turns a little green. So definitely whatever it is, Pro Tan I like to use, but I would prefer that I get sprayed versus putting it on myself.
Now I have a complete I mean, I love protein for sure. I get the convenience of having somebody spray, but I love the protein DIY. I did it last year for every show that I did, and I found that it just was able to just relax me a little bit. It felt like I was just putting lotion on. I would put
Mhm.
music on and just kind of get into my groove and just have my own time getting myself ready. But it is you have to make sure that you plan out when you're gonna put it on and just make sure you always have time because yeah, it can stress you out. If especially when I first tried it last year, I realized I had to do a whole bunch of coats. So
Mhm.
I just went straight to the super dark instead of using the original competition color. So you learn your things with DIY, but I love DIY because I don't have to be freezing and standing in front of the fan the whole time, and then having to hopefully, hope they're on time and that everything dries. The DIY dries really good, but yeah, I don't necessarily like liquid sun rays that much either, because it definitely turned green, and I didn't even have hormone problems going on, but it was so hot in Arizona when I did USA's in 21 that it was turning weird colors, and it just wasn't the best.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said, like you said, with the tan, setting your own timeline is definitely a plus. But if they are running behind, usually if you're using the show sponsored tan, at least they'll always make sure that they get everybody sprayed, whereas they don't care if you're not using the show sponsor, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then you're more guaranteed to, I think, to kind of like match with the other competitors in a way. So I think there's pluses and minuses to both, but as far as like actual like brand of tan, Pro Tan is my favorite for sure. And then getting into the last favorite, heels. So I like the Olympian mules by the Shoe Fairy. I just like those so much better than a strap because I get calf cramps really bad and I don't wear heels a lot. I'm a ponytail and tennis shoes girl. So for me to be able to like slip out and relax my feet a little bit, especially when you're standing in line for a long time, I think it makes a big difference. And the thing about the Olympians that I like so much more than like Ellie and all those other brands is that they have that pillow cushion. Basically, it feels like you're walking on a marshmallow compared to any other shoe. The Shoe Fairy is the only one that has created that pad. I used to have to use pedals where I'd put like a gel pad on there, but it's not the same. It's still not it really like takes a lot out of your joints and your back, like having a little bit of padding. I know it sounds weird, but totally true.
Yeah, and those are also my favorite are the Shoe Fairy Olympian mules as well. I actually like to grab though the separate ankle attachments, and I like to put that
Mhm.
on right before I'm gonna go on stage. You
Yeah.
have come to my rescue and helped me so I don't have to bend down after I bikini bite in. But yeah, I love the Olympian mules because you can take them on and off. They're so comfortable. I've never had a more comfortable heel before. And I will say they do, because the way the cushion is, like there's a little indention where your what is that? The ball of your foot goes. It
Hmm.
does kind of help less like slipping too. So
Yeah.
I don't have to use as much of that baby powder since I switched to those. So I love them.
Yeah. And I think you bring up a good point, and I think this is just helpful for listeners to understand. So when you're just like you're training in the gym and you're getting your muscles stronger and you're doing cardio and you're getting your heart stronger, when you're posing, you're getting those finite, tiny muscles in like your feet, your ankles, your all those different elements that come into being in a heel and walking comfortably and smoothly. Those are all getting trained while you're practicing posing. So, Brittany, I think we've shared this before, but you do the mules to practice to develop those muscles, and then you use those detachable straps, which is a huge savings because I think they're only like $11, $10, something like that.
Yeah,
Seven.
Shoe Fairy actually doesn't have them anymore. I had to
Oh,
purchase
okay.
them. But they if anybody does need help, they sent me a thing that you can get on Amazon or eBay, I think, and it was like a big box of them. So they're really
And they
cheap,
just slide
and
on.
they're just little pieces of plastic that you slide on.
Yeah, and it just gives you a little bit extra ankle stability when you're on stage. But then while you're practicing, you can kind of develop those muscles without the strap and then kind of put the strap on when you're on stage for the extra support. So with that, we're at the end of our list of favorites. And if you, have any comments to leave us on YouTube, please do so in terms of like, what's your favorite? If you agree with us, if you disagree. I know this is a shameless plug, but for Shoe Fairy, for Angel Competition bikinis, and for Pro Tan, you can use the all caps Glam Girl for discounts on all of those items. So keep that in mind. And if you liked this episode and you found value in it, please share it on your story on Instagram. Let us know what you thought, or you can give us a DM on any future suggestions. But we're found on Instagram at Prep Life Podcast and at Glam Girl Bikini. And if you would like to join the team, you can go to glamgirlbikini.com and hit the Get Started button to apply. So this is your founder and CEO of Glam Girl Bikini, Amy Enger, signing off with Coach Brittany Gable. Thanks for listening, guys.